Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Everybody. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtiki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayana, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of women, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes of Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart of souls completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs establish the irrevocable fact. Would someone like to remind us of what we had yesterday? Does anybody remember? Okay.
Yudhisthira, Arjuna came into the palace crying all these bad omens, and Yudhisthira was almost like beating around the bush. He was like, "How's so-and-so? How's this? How's this?" With a bunch of different people, checking in, keeping
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So we're going to continue with that. Yudhishthira is still questioning Arjuna. We're getting to the end of the questioning in this particular class. Would you like to start reading? Yeah, we can start in there.
The enjoyer and Balaram, the primeval lord Ananta, has stayed in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe, and the members of the Yadu dynasty being protected with the arms of the Lord and enjoying life the residence on the spiritual sky.
Simply by administering comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the most important of all services, the queens at Dwarka, headed by Satyabhama, introduced the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus, the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of thunderbolts.
The great heroes of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of Lord Sri Krishna, always remain fearless in every respect, and therefore their feet trample over Sudharma, assembly house, which the best demigods deserve, but which was taken away from them.
My brother Arjuna, please tell me whether your health is all right. You appear to have lost your bodily luster. Is this due to others disrespecting and neglecting you because of your long stay at Dwarka?
Someone addressed you with unfriendly words or threatened you. Could you not give charity to one who asked? Or could you not keep your promise to someone?
You are always the protector of the deserving living beings, such as the brahmanas, children, cows, women, and the diseased. Could you not give them the protection when they approached you for shelter?
Have you contacted a woman of impeachable character? Or have you not properly treated a deserving woman? Or have you been defeated on the way by someone who is inferior or equal to you?
Have you not taken care of old men and boys who deserve to dine with you? Have you left them and taken your meals alone? Have you committed some unpardonable mistake which is considered to be abominable?
Or is it that you are feeling empty for all time because you might have lost your most intimate friend, Lord Krishna? Oh, my brother Arjuna, I can think of no other reason for your becoming so dejected.
This is the last. So we're going to go into this one. Kachit prishtatamenata hridayinatma bandhuna Shunyasmirahituri nityam Manyasete nyatanaru Kachit prishtatamenata hridayinatma bandhuna Shunyasmirahito nityam Manyasete nyatanaru. You can go ahead. Together. Kachit brother, Krishna unto the rose girl, Ata, my brother Arjuna, Hridayana, most intimate, Atmabandhana, own friend Lord Krishna, Shunya, void, Asmi, I am, Rahita, having lost, Nityam, for all time, Anyase, you think, Te, Lord, Anyata, otherwise, now, never, through mental distress. Translation. Or is it that you are feeling empty for all time because you might have lost your most intimate friend, Lord Krishna? O my brother Arjuna, I can think of no other reason for your becoming so dejected. Would someone like to read the purport? Yes. The inquisitiveness of Maharaj Yudhisthira about the world situation was already conjectured by Maharaj Yudhisthira on the basis of Lord Krishna's disappearance from the vision of the world, and this was now disclosed by him because of the acute dejection of Arjuna, which could not have been possible otherwise. So even though he was doubtful about it, he was obliged to inquire frankly from Arjuna on the basis of Sri Narada's indication. Should I read that? Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so can we just have the verse there so people can look at it? So I would like to talk on the subject of separation and emptiness, because that is what Arjuna is experiencing here. Of course, I just want to make a distinction, because what Arjuna is experiencing is on the level of a pure devotee. So he's feeling genuine separation from Krishna as his friend in his personal mood of friendship with Krishna. Some of us might be able to feel that, and some of us might not be able to get to that point because we don't remember our relationship with Krishna good enough.
though separation still has a purpose for us as conditioned souls. And that's what I want to talk about today. What is the meaning of the feeling of separation for conditioned beings in our Krishna consciousness? So I'd like to ask you all, who has felt empty before? Yes. Okay, and in those times where you felt empty, what are ways that you've tried to fill the void? Get an extra plate. Other ones? Just watching TV. Chanting Hare Krishna. Breathing. Yeah. Walking in the forest. Yeah, like that. Working harder. Yeah. Yoga. Anything else? Sleeping. Yeah. Calling a friend. Working out. Okay. Yeah. And in those things that you were doing to fill the void, what were you really looking for? Satisfaction, answers, Krishna. Wholeness, joy, connection, purpose. Anything else you were looking for? Love. Sense gratification. Relief. Anything else? Reciprocation, care, recognition, fulfillment, purpose. Okay, yeah, that's really good. Thank you. There's so much we're looking for. Okay, so in relation to that, and trust me, we're going to get somewhere with this, but let's remember who we really are. I'm sure you already know, theoretically. So maybe someone would like to remind me. Who are we really? Spirit souls. Servants of Krishna. Is that who you really are? Yes, Prabhu?
We are not only souls, but just to specify, we are full of knowledge, bliss, and eternality.
Yes, knowledge, bliss, and eternality. Yes.
Our soul is completely in love with and a servant of Krishna.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you said basically everything I had. We're very finite parts of an infinite, complete being who is Krishna. So tiny, tiny little particles of the complete whole, Krishna. That's who we are. And we all have a particular set of qualities, desires, moods, and other things that makes us really special. Now, what's the purpose of our existence? Understanding who we are, what is the purpose of our existence? To be happy, to give pleasure to Krishna, to give and receive love, to serve Krishna, to connect,
To please devotees as well.
to please the devotees of the Lord. Now, these are all really good purposes for our soul. There is probably different reasons why Krishna decided to expand himself in so many little particles. One of them is that he wanted to increase his experience of pleasure. So think about it. You're all non-different and also different from Krishna, meaning that you're part of him. Like, you're a genuine, tiny, little part of his own qualities. So that's what makes you non-different. And you're kind of a tiny little expansion of Krishna, but with a different percentage of power, let's say, like that. And so it's different, but just for the purpose of understanding, he expanded himself as Balaram, he expanded himself as Radharani, because these are integral part of himself that he can reciprocate with, because that brings more pleasure than just being there sitting alone and doing nothing. Like, he enjoys himself still, but it increases his pleasure when there's like an actual personification in front of him that he can experience that with. So we're that too, just in smaller percentage. We're tiny little parts, expansions of him that he wants to exchange with. And so the importance of knowing that we have a different set of qualities and moods and desires and all of that is super important, because that particular thing that you have is the purpose that you have in your relationship with Krishna. So this is what you get to give Krishna. This is how you get to increase Krishna's pleasure. And what you're really doing is that you're exchanging with the bigger part of yourself, which is Krishna, because you're a tiny spark of him, right? So, because I was thinking about it and I was like, how can you make it attractive to say that you're meant to increase someone else's pleasure? That's all you're meant for. Like, it can sound really like, what about me? Like, why is it about someone else? But actually, it's not just about someone else. You're part of him. Like, you're experiencing this pleasure together, and you're just doing like kind of your role within that exchange. And why? Because that's what you're able to do. Like, Krishna is able to give a certain amount of thing, which is actually unlimited, because he's the whole. He's the complete whole. You're a tiny part of the whole. So what can you give? You can give what you have. You can give who you are. And so that's where your purpose comes in. And you do find pleasure in that, because that's all that you're made of. That's all that you're made of. So that's what you want to give, actually. But we just don't really remember that part. Another thing I wanted to say is how this different set of qualities, moods, and desires and all of that makes your love taste in a specific way. So I was trying to find a way to explain how that, for us to understand on our platform here, is that, okay, let's say you have 3 different friends. They're obviously all in the same category, friendship, So it's not necessarily like family or lover or whatever. Like, 3 different friends. They're all in the category of friendship, and still you're going to experience a different mood with each of them. And there's something particular that you like about this one, and there's something particular that you like about that one, and then there's something particular that is more challenging with this one, and then like there's a whole mood, or ras, for those who know that term, that you experience with different friends, because they're different people. So it's the same thing, but Krishna has an amount of friends that you can't even imagine. Like, it's like just an unlimited amount of friends. Like, it's more than the amount of blade of grass that there are on this planet. Like, it's so many, it's unimaginable. And with each and every person, there is a particular mood, and there's something special that he experiences, and that includes you. So you have like this particular set of things in which you can exchange with Krishna. And what he wants is to enjoy that particular taste of love that you both have together. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard multiple times that Krishna also reciprocates with you in a unique way, in a way that's like designed for your particular relationship. And so the same way that you have something really particular to offer and give the experience of to Krishna, he also has a particular way to reciprocate with you, which satisfies what you're looking for. Okay, that being said, okay, we know who we are. Okay, we know that, let's just recap a little bit. We know that we have this innate sense of emptiness here in the material world that we've all experiencing in the past, maybe now, and probably in the future. Now we understand who we are, and we understand the reason of our existence as souls. What happens when we come to the material world? We're subjected to the material conditions, yeah? We forget our true self. Yeah, we think we're this temporary material self. Did you want to answer?
It's like a drop of water which comes from the sky. It's pure, but when it comes in contact with the mud, it becomes contaminated. So that's what happens to us by association. We acquire these qualities of material nature.
Jackson?
We're separated from Krishna.
Yeah. Trying to serve Krishna and love Krishna, we're trying to find happiness in temporary material things. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that you've said everything. Basically what happens is that, okay, we just like cleared out that we have like this particular thing to offer the Krishna meant to increase his pleasure, and at the same time that's how we get fulfilled. So meaning that originally we love Krishna. So when you come to the material world, like you guys have already said, you come into contact with material nature. So the three modes of material nature. And this loving propensity that you have is still there, but it turns into lust with the contact of the material nature. And there's a reason for that. Why does it turn into lust? Because we have this desire to experience what Krishna is experiencing. Krishna is kind of the center of everything. So he gets to experience the love of everybody, and he gets to be this the main object of love, or object of, I don't know, endearment, like to everyone. Meanwhile, we have him, and we don't get to be at the center. And so because we are part of him, this desire to want to enjoy and to want to be in control, or to want to be kind of the main character, is natural. And some people don't act on that, and so they remain in the spiritual world, and some people want to experience it. And that's us. We wanted to experience it. We wanted to know what it's like to be like Krishna. The thing is here, Krishna is whole, complete, like we also are, but he has like all the qualities in infinite quantity. We have all the qualities in finite quantity. So how are we gonna enjoy like Krishna does if we're limited in that way? And that's where the material modes of nature comes in. It's like, I'm gonna allow you to have an impression that you're at the center of everything, so that your desire for enjoying the material world can be fulfilled. And that's what happens. Our love becomes lust, so that we can think and have an impression that we are in control and we're the main character, and we can enjoy and create what we want for ourselves. So everything that we actually happen to go through in our lives stems from desire. We came here in the material world because it was our desire, and Krishna fulfilled it. If your desire somehow gets tainted through the modes of material nature, then you're going to take action on that desire, and that's going to create a reaction. So the reaction that you have actually came from you acting on your desire. Okay, so it all stems from desire, and that's going to be important in like the following little points that I'd like to make. Okay, so we're here in the material world, in contact with material nature, and the original love that we have for Krishna becomes lust, so that we can experience being at the center of everything, at least to an extent that is possible for us due to our limitations. Now I'd like to ask you one more time. In all that you've tried to enjoy here, what were you really looking for? Okay, if we're a servant of Krishna, we won't be happy doing anything else, because that's not who we are. in all that you've tried to enjoy here in the material world, what were you really looking for?
Sort of also like not in connection with Krishna,
Right? Well, whatever it is that you're answering cannot really be wrong. Like, while trying to enjoy here, what were you looking for? Fulfillment.
Yeah, I think like before before Krishna consciousness, a feeling of loving God, and a feeling of ecstasy and fulfillment and purpose, and then in Krishna consciousness, yeah, we're theoretically always trying to serve Krishna, but on an emotional level also, I think that we're all deeply desiring to feel that love, to feel emotions, to feel bhav, to feel connection and ecstasy.
That's it.
Before it was very much like I was seeking some kind of goal, like I've got to get to this thing. And now all I really yearn for is shelter.
Yeah.
It's not as much of this like, oh, I'm gonna get there. It's more of like, ooh, I just want to feel buffered, and I want to feel held and able to feel just completely steady in this service of the Lord.
Well, to sum up, you could say that what we're looking for in the material world is to stop the suffering, whether it's by looking for a different relationship, new husband, new wife, new car, new phone, that there is this hankering, there is this tearing us apart. So we're trying to dull it, stop it by material things. So that's more or less the continuous effort of living into this world.
Yes, I think that, like what Adi Sham just said, like when we're conditioned, we're looking to stop the suffering. But on the highest level, pure devotee is looking for nothing except to, like, they don't care about anything except serving and making Krishna happy. And like you so beautifully said, then that's also how they become happy. So I know for me, like my deepest desire is to get to that place of where like all I want is to serve Krishna and make him happy.
Okay. So you've actually, guys, you've said it before what I was looking for, but all the answers are obviously good. So whether you're looking for fulfillment, value, purpose, or like more general, like Krishna conscious things, like connecting with Krishna, like remembering Krishna, like all these things. The point that I wanted to make is that the emotional fulfillment that you're looking for and the pleasure and happiness that you're looking for, those are Krishna. They are Krishna. Like everything that's here is Krishna. Like you are looking for Krishna in the wrong places. That's basically what it is. Even as devotees, we do that. We're looking for pleasure in some types of ways, and it's not always consciously like, oh, I want to be Krishna conscious, so I'm gonna eat a cake and get pleasure from it. Like, like that's not. We're not always. Sometimes we're not like thinking necessarily about Krishna. We're thinking about what it is that we're lacking and how do we want to fill it. Well, those things are Krishna. It's just that we're looking for Krishna in the things that are finite and temporary. So we're looking for it in people who are finite, that's each other, and we're looking for it in things that are finite. So, anything that you could do for sense gratification, those are things that are finite. But originally, all those things come from Krishna, because he's got all the qualities. And so everything that you see is something that's made up of his qualities. And so the point is just that we're looking for Krishna. We're looking to fill our emptiness because we don't have Krishna anymore. And it's impossible for us to live without Krishna. It's impossible for us to exist without Krishna because we are part of him. And like we've previously established, our purpose of existence is to increase Krishna's pleasure in exchange with him in happiness. And so that's what we're constantly trying to do without knowing, because we're helpless. There's nothing else we can do. So even here, while trying to be the center of everything, still we can't help but look for Krishna. I just want to finish something before I let you guys speak. Okay, so another thing is, okay, so why we're looking for Krishna, those finite things. Why are we not finding satisfaction? It's Krishna. So why not? Why does it not work? So I kind of already said it, but one of the things is that those things that we're looking in are finite. So that, it's like, let's say I have a friend and I'm really looking for like unconditional love and complete acceptance, and for all my emotional needs to be met, and like all these things, and you're looking for that in your friend, and then it's like, okay, but your friend is a finite being with limitations who really can only offer what they've been given by Krishna, because that's what they're made of. And so you're trying to get all this intense, like deep, like fulfillment and love into someone who has limitations, and you're also like that, by the way. So that's why, like, okay, or you're trying to find that, like, some people they'll try to find that in their like activities. So like, for example, I'm an artist, so I could be like really trying to find the purpose of my life and all the fulfillment that I crave within my artistic abilities. The point is, whatever you do here in the material world, it's not satisfying because you're looking into something that has limitations. The only person who doesn't have those limitations is Krishna. He can fulfill your heart infinitely, because here's the thing, not only do you desire something really like intense and deep, but also it's ever increasing. We're never satisfied. Like, it always gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And who also is like that? Krishna is like that. He is exponentially, like, his qualities are just forever growing, and so he is always able to provide, always, and you exchange with him like that, and your love increases forever. That's only with him you can experience it to that extent. That's not to diminish like the association of devotees. I'll get into it a little bit after, but it's just, the point is that in the material world and in anything that is finite, we won't find satisfaction. Another reason that we're not finding satisfaction here is that we're misaligned with our purpose. We're trying to be the center, but we're not. So it just feels wrong, even though we're not necessarily conscious of it. It's like, oh, I'm meant to increase Krishna's pleasure because that's legit like what I'm made of, like qualities that are meant to be experienced in exchange with him. But I'm trying to be at the center. So it's like, okay, there's a misalignment there. And then the last thing is that, okay, not only are we trying to find ultimate fulfillment into finite things, which is logically impossible, but we are also finite ourselves. So there is a limitation to what I'm able to enjoy, and there's a limitation to what I'm able to create. So, okay, let's think about it. Krishna is maintaining billions and billions and billions and trillions and however many numbers are possible to count, or impossible to count, relationships. That's how many relationships he's like maintaining. Can you even maintain one relationship fully? Like, I don't know, I can't. Like, I can't even be fully there for one person. How am I going to enjoy infinite relationships? Like, that's just not possible. I can't even create anything. Like, I can just put things together, and even that I'm limited in doing. So like I'm trying to find full satisfaction in being the controller, but I'm not even I don't even have the capacity to be the controller. So of course there would be dissatisfaction because of the limitation. There's something else I want to get into, but is there any like question? Okay,
Karina? I said that our purpose is as tiny parts of Krishna, so tiny expansions of Him. We're meant to increase His pleasure through our unique relationship with Him.
So our purpose is to increase His pleasure, and then through our unique relationship, so also to experience that relationship with Him.
Yeah.
You were talking of the difficulty of not being able to enjoy material world compared to enjoying this association with Krishna, is that he's unlimited and the world is limited. There is one more explanation Satyabhama gives. He says, by nature we are eternal, but when we come to material world, we try to enjoy temporary things. Same approach, but you take it from not limited, but also temporary.
Yes.
Because we can't fully come to Krishna in seeking through the finite things, we also can't fully separate from him in going as far as we possibly want into the finite things because he's always there.
Yeah.
And so that void of emptiness, thus he's also the emptiness. How would you expound upon that? Like this in the misconception and in that dysregulation. Yeah. How do we know that that is also Krishna?
So what you're describing is basically the mode of ignorance. So it's forgetfulness. We need to be forgetful to be able to enjoy as the center of everything. Otherwise, we would just know, oh, it's Krishna. I'm not alone, I guess. I'm not the center, I guess, So that mode of ignorance is actually necessary for us to fulfill that desire. The void that you're describing, it's an illusion. It's not actually there. We just don't remember that Krishna is in everything. If we did, then we would feel fulfilled right now. But because there's still this contamination, we're not able to realize really practically that everything is Krishna, even if we know in theory. I just want to continue because we don't have that much time left. Could you pull up CC Adi 4.108? This is a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita on separation. Because, like I said at the beginning of the class, I wanted to talk about what separation means to us conditioned beings. And there's a really nice answer here. I'll just read it. Just as Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhava, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. Report. Those under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that his mode of worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna is separation, is the real worship of the Lord. When the feelings of separation become very intense, one attains the stage of meeting Sri Krishna. So-called devotees, like the Sahajiyas, cheaply imagine that they're meeting Krishna in Vrindavan. Such thinking may be useful, but actually meeting Krishna is possible through attitude of separation taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so like we've talked about earlier, everything happens due to desire. So we are here in the material world due to desire, which means that our strongest desire at the moment is to enjoy material nature and to be the center of everything. And so if we got here by desire, we can get out of here by desire. And so the point is that if our desire for meeting Krishna becomes strong in us to overcome our desire to enjoy the material world, then we're back to Godhead. And that's the purpose of separation as conditioned beings. And we have a few tools for that.
which is why we at this perfect process of Bhakti Yoga, which contains all the tools that we need to trigger that feeling of separation. Because in the beginning, we might not feel any separation from Krishna because we don't remember him. And the point of using those tools, for example, the scriptures, is to trigger a remembrance. Because it's not like you don't have a relationship with Krishna. It's not like it's not there and you have to build it. It's already there. You just have to remember it. So those tools, like the scriptures which talk about Krishna, they help us remember Krishna. They help us remember our relationship with him. And then there's the 9 processes of devotional service, which also all trigger our remembrance, our soul's remembrance of Krishna through those different ways of serving him. I wanted to go through them, but we only have 2 minutes left, so you can look into the 9 processes of devotional service. But there's prayer, deity worship, friendship, like so many different ones. And so these are all meant to help us remember Krishna. And then there's association. Through association with peers, we are encouraged to continue the bhakti process, and that gives us the confidence and the sense of belonging that we need, and in order to use the tools of bhakti to remember Krishna. And that kind of awakens the feeling of separation, because the more you remember Krishna, the more you feel separated from him. And then association with people who are senior to you gives you a taste of what you're actually doing all of this for. It's just that you see someone who's chanting very more sincerely than you are, or you see someone who thinks about Krishna more often than you do, or different examples of that, where someone is more advanced than you. It makes you feel, because we're sentient beings, like when someone feels a certain way, we subtly feel that too. So by being in their association, you feel their separation from Krishna, and that reminds you, oh man, I also feel separation from Krishna. I want to remember like they remember. And then you use the tools that you're given in bhakti to ignite that feeling of separation a little bit more. And one more thing that I thought was so perfect, which kind of hurts, but it's also really perfect, is that we're not given Krishna. We're not given Krishna, not fully. And that's good. Because remember, the point is that we're trying to intensify our feeling of separation, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's his example that we're following, so that this desire or this feeling of separation becomes stronger than our desire to enjoy in the material world. If we were given Krishna, you know how when you get things very easily, you kind of take them for granted? Well, that's a bit like that. So if your desire is not sincere enough, or at least not intense enough to overthrow your desire to enjoy material nature, then if Krishna was to give himself to you, it wouldn't mean enough for you, and you wouldn't actually get out of the material world. And if you want to get out of the material world, you need to desire to meet Krishna, because it's about desire. And so he gives himself just enough so that you can grow this desire of meeting him, so that you can intensify this feeling of separation. And then once this feeling of separation becomes so strong and overwhelming that you're breaking apart from inside, that's when you finally overcome your desire for material nature and get to meet Krishna. Yeah, I had an outro, but I basically said it. So just as a recap, what is our emptiness telling us? It's telling us that we're missing Krishna. And it's telling us that the void that we're trying to fulfill cannot be fulfilled by finite things, cannot be fulfilled here in this material world, because Krishna's personal form is not here. And this the way that we can overcome this, or the purpose of the feeling of separation for us conditioned being, is to basically overthrow our desire to enjoy material nature. So we are here. So here we can experience separation as through our practice increasingly until it becomes so strong that it takes us out of this material world and qualifies us to meet Krishna in person. Oops, that's all for me. Is there any questions or comment on this?
Just what you were saying about desire, there's this little story about disciple kept asking his guru, like, when will I see God every day? When will I see God? When will I see God? And then they were bathing in a river. And he goes under just to like his hair wet, but this guru like holds him down for like a minute. And then he comes up and he can like, why would you do that? And the guru said, until your desire to see God is stronger than your desire to breathe.
That's very beautiful. Thank you. And absolutely amazing, awesome, fantastic, fabulous, super wonderful class. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. One thing I was confused about is when you said Krishna like expanded himself into the jivas so that he could enjoy different rasas and different flavors of love. And just like, expands at Radharani or Balaram. You said it's obviously different, but it's similar in that way that he expressed to enjoy that love. I was confused, like, why would he not just enjoy with perfected expansions then like Radharani and Balaram? Why would he have to expand also as like minute entities, jivas, to experience different flavors of love? It's very technical, but I was just wondering.
Well, I can only say what I understand from me. What I understand from it is that Krishna's propensity for pleasure is unlimited and ever increasing. So, it kind of, there's no, time doesn't exist. So it's not like there was a beginning and it's continuing. It's kind of always there. But if we were to try to understand it chronologically, he kind of first expanded himself as a full person. So Radharani, and then I don't know exactly the order, but it's like Radharani and Balaram, then, and it goes like this, it goes like that. And so in the beginning, like, even though there's no really beginning, it's full expansions that he enjoys fully. But the thing is that his desires are ever increasing and his propensity for pleasure is ever increasing. And so every little tiny part of himself he wants to enjoy and experience, then he makes it happen, and that and himself is ever increasing. So there's no limits of how many aspects of himself he can enjoy. And so that's kind of what happens. It's not like he has a desire for experiencing like Radharani, so a full like perfected being, or however you could say that. I don't know how to mention it in different words. But he also has a desire to experience this tiny little quality that he has in a personal way. So he has all these types of desires that are unfathomable for us to understand because he's unlimited. Are you still have more questions? Okay. Yes. Okay. Can I take the questions first? Yeah, there's one. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I have so many questions. Maybe over the week. Well, my first one, it's a nice question that Radhika Priti had. I probably gave an example of a pinky. Pinky is so insignificant. We can live without it. But we still care about it.
Yeah.
If there's like a pinprick or something like that, stuff, there's a torn in there, I still want it out.
Yeah.
And I want pinky to be happy. The question, like earlier in your wonderful presentation, you said, so that it seems like, maybe I'm wrong, there's a separate, like we have Krishna and then we have this experience in the material world. Are they really like fully separate, or we can experience Krishna in this world as well?
I mean, the first thing that came to me is that actually there's a few things that came to me, but so I structured the class in a specific way to make a point, but that obviously like takes a lot of information out that I didn't necessarily mention, and also that I don't necessarily know. I definitely think that we can experience Krishna in this world, especially because we have the holy name, and the scriptures do tell us that Krishna and his name are not different, they're the same. And so there's definitely a possibility to fully experience Krishna, at least through the holy name in this world. Though even Lord Chaitanya experienced, his whole experience in the material world was in the mood of separation. So I think that although we can experience Krishna fully here, the mood that we want to, that's naturally going to happen, is the mood of separation.
It is possible.
Yeah.
And it is not separate in a way.
No, I don't think so, because like I also mentioned how everything here is also Krishna. It's just our consciousness is not necessarily there to understand it. I don't think this world is separate from Krishna. I think we forgot that it's not. But is there something else you want to tell?
No.
Okay. Also, like, of course, my answers are limited, but I hope this is good.
Thank you.
Prabhupada says in one of his purports in the Bhagavad Gita that for the conditioned soul, this world is miserable, but for pure devotees, it's as good as Vaikuntha. In purport in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says for the conditioned soul, this world is a miserable place, but for a pure devotee, it's as good as Vaikuntha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jonathan?
A really nice class today. It's been very relevant for things I've been thinking about. So I've been thinking about this prayer from Bhakti Tirtha Swami I've been saying every morning. It says, when you're ready to get serious about your spiritual life, you'll say a prayer like this: Dear Lord, you're the best friend, the best provider, the best lover, but it's only me that stands in the way of what you have for me. And so he is everything, and it's us and our actions, that decide whether or not we receive it.
Yeah.
So my question is, though, what's the difference between separation and disconnection, and being disconnected?
Well, the first thing that came was forgetfulness. I feel like disconnection is a lack of awareness of a relationship with Krishna. So we forget that we have a connection, and so that's what causes the disconnection. Separation, you're like fully connected. You're like thinking about, like, not like you can understand it on a material level too. Like when you feel separation from somebody that you really love, you just think about it all the time. You just feel depressed all the time, and you just want to be with them, and you want to experience them. So actually, you're together, but in separation. Disconnectedness, you don't like. Your heart is not open enough to even like emotionally be invested into the person.
A connection with somebody if you're separated.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. But then a disconnection means there's no connection at all.
There's connection, it's just forgotten.
Thank you.
Okay, breakfast is here. I wanted Champak to say her poem, but
shooting not here anymore. So okay. Shema Bahayanamiki.
Krishna Bharadaya Moya Vivara Jivaya Swaprasada Natila